All right, here we go. It's a Friday. And you know what Friday means? Mostly through the weekend. Let's go. Bring it up. Hype it up, baby. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. All right. Welcome back, folks, to another weekend. This is it. We're the last rant of the week. And when I say the last rant of the week, I would love to say this is the last time I hear from the Democrats and they're whining and crying. They're still crying in their coffees and teas this morning and scotches that they lost the election. They can't figure out why. They can't figure out why so many millions and millions and dozens of millions of Americans voted for the wrong person. They put an autocrat. Hitler is in power. Look what he's doing. And they empowered Elon Musk, an unelected official, to destroy the country and ruin democracy. Are we done yet? Are we done with the hysteria? Do we need to medicate the Democratic Party? Give them, I don't know, Xanax or something, because the hysteria is off the charts. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rant Network. I'm David Solomon. He is Stuart Brisgell. This is the Rant Network with the unedited, uncensored, unfiltered, and definitely unapologetic conversations about everything to do with news, pop culture, politics, and the quirks of modern life. Look, we go through these roller coasters of rants 3 times a week. We give you our honest opinions, our diverse perspectives that'll make you laugh, think, smile, get angry, shout, especially at your politicians. Sit back and relax, folks. We're going to dive into another one of these absurdities. And again, this week, Stuart, was Groundhog Day. And the Democrats showed us. And if you remember the movie Groundhog Day, it was like the same day, repeat. You couldn't break that chain. And it seems like the Democrats are caught in Groundhog Day because all they want to do, let's impeach the president. We've already got an articles of impeachment threat. We're not even 3 weeks into the mandate, okay? We're going to impeach the president. The irony is that the Democrats still think they've been wronged in the election of 2024 and have learned nothing. And if this week doesn't prove it, Stuart, I don't know what does. What say you, my friend?
Well, let's first begin that in the United States, different than many other countries, there are only 2 parties. There is the Democrats and the Republicans. And when you understand that both groups represent the United States of America and United States of America's values and to support Americans. So let's talk about USAID. $1.5 million to advance diversity and inclusion in Serbia. $70,000 for.
Hold on, slow down. You said money going to Serbia for what?
Advanced diversity and equity inclusion.
DEI in Serbia, subsidized by the U.S. government.
Yep.
Next,
$70,000 to produce a DEI musical in Ireland.
A musical on DEI. Okay, so we've got a theme here. Go on.
$2.4 million for electric vehicles in Vietnam.
That's important.
Here's another one. $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia.
In Colombia.
Yeah. Wow. $32,000 for a transgender comic book.
Hey, Peru. So how does
in Peru. $2 million for sex change and LGBT activism in Guatemala.
Wow.
It gets better. $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt. Now, David, while I'm talking, why don't you look how much money the U.S. government gives to Egypt? Because every dollar given to Israel is paired to every dollar given to Egypt. But over and above that number, it's an additional $6 million for tourism. Now, hundreds of thousands of dollars, shy of $1 million, for nonprofits linked to designated. Now, what does designated mean? The State Department has said that they're terrorist organizations, even after the Inspector General launched an investigation. Millions to EcoHealth Alliance. Now, if we all recall, there was a wonderful lab leak in a place called Wuhan, China, Well, we're still giving millions of dollars for research at Wuhan. Hundreds of thousands of meals went to Al-Qaeda affiliate fighters in Syria.
That's a good one.
Yep. Funding to print personalized contraceptive birth control devices and developing countries. Hundreds of millions of dollars to fund irrigation canals, farming equipment, and fertilizer. Remember, fertilizer used to support the unprecedented poppy cultivation and heroin production in Afghanistan. Oh, wait a minute. We're producing drugs out of USAID, benefiting one group known as the Taliban. The list literally goes on and on and on. Now, if you were following the news, you would have seen all different members of our illustrious Democratic, progressive, and non-progressive Congress and the House stand and cry out to fight in the streets, fight in the courts, fight in the legislative, and fight in the streets. I'm sorry. That, my friend, is calling for an insurrection and war and discourse in the streets. Now, wait a minute. They're arguing freedom of speech. I don't get it. Now, the next thing and by the way, Senator Chris Van Hollen was telling the world this is a clear violation of our laws, and USAID saves lives. You know what? Where are they saving lives? I'm not really sure. I'm not sure. Are they saving their economic guarantees for payoffs? Maybe saving their lives that way by not calling them out for being duplicit and fraudulent, calling for an insurrection, which should be an immediate investigation of the House and Congress for inciting what? Insurrection of government. Wow. Now, the next thing that this illustrious Democratic caucus is yelling that Elon Musk. Now, I'm trying to figure out, were they yelling and screaming that Biden's were what? Bringing cocaine in the warehouse, allegedly?
Not warehouse, the White House.
Trading secrets and for favor for foreign governments. But Elon Musk, who brings some of the smartest people, I guess the government, when you go into a job, you can't go and show how smart you are. You got to ease in. As a new CEO, typically spends 6 months getting to know the culture and people before he terminates all these people. Elon Musk, probably one of the most prolific businessmen of the modern era, at the likes compared to Rockefeller, not quite as rich as Rockefeller by dollar, about 100 billion off, but getting there quickly. And bringing the smartest technology people to use versions of AI and database management to find areas of fraud. Why the Democrats so against sifting out dead people, bad actors, bad organizations, and redistribution of American taxpayer dollars? How about to benefit American taxpayers?
No.
This is what I am. And look, as a financial advisor, I sit here every day. And you know what? There's an expression. If you repeat the same thing over and over again and expect a different result,
they call that insanity.
The definition of insanity. Now, why am I bringing this in? Because David just loves when I pivot to another topic. This illustrious President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, who is not Mr. Trump for all you dumb ignoramuses that serve for the U.S. government, as it was President Biden and President Obama and President Bush. It is President Trump. And you know what? I have to tell you, what has gone on in Israel for 70 years has failed. For the 50 to 100 years before that, has failed. So you want to know something for all those people that refuse to call what the Democrats are doing as an insurrection and as the quote, Gazans being displaced. Well, I didn't hear cries of freedom from the Egyptians or the Jordanians or how about the acknowledgement of the millions displaced in the Ukraine that have fled to and widely accepted in Poland, Romania, England, France, Germany? Why does no one want these people? The Democrats are the ostriches of the modern era. And David, I know I've stolen this entire rant from you, and you're sitting there laughing, letting me go from topic to topic and just keeping your mouth shut. And you know what? All that means is this is officially an echo chamber where David and I are in complete agreement in almost every topic and every statement that I've made.
Yep.
We are not against Democrats. We are not against gay people. We're not against transgender people. We're not against the Muslim religion. We're not against anything. But we are trying to show you and explain to you that in the media, which, by the way, it's official, Politica was being paid millions of dollars. CBS produced a fake interview. All of this nonsense that was alleged and denied has all turned to being fact. And you know what? The only thing that prevented this from coming out was a stolen election, a bullet across the head of a former president, now current president, and the determination of the majority of the United States to elect without denial to change the course of where we're heading. David, you're in Canada. Little Justin Trudeau has been given walking papers in March. I am curious, are the liberals having the same choke addiction that the Democrats are?
Absolutely.
Tea leaves and crystal ball starting to show a bright light, that the light is shining on the fraud and ignorance that exists there? Because I'm seeing in my Facebook, in my Instagram channel, insanity from our friends, people we grew up with. I don't understand it.
Okay, well, all right. So we'll work it backwards here. Yeah, left parties don't learn from other parties. Okay? Excuse me. The left, thank you. I'm sneezing on the truth, as my mother used to say. The left doesn't learn. The left doubles down. The left wants to yell at you and scream at you when you're wrong, when they think you're wrong. But they're not going to give you facts. Because listen, that's why the problem here in the Liberal Party, you see some of the people trying to run for the leadership are trying to get away from the Justin Trudeau policies, but they're tied in, they're hooked, line, and center. There's not a chance they're going to get it. And they keep coming back and doubling down on all these things. Now, what you said about Egypt, you brought up Egypt, and I did find, I did find it, that Egypt every year gets about $1.5 billion. Okay? Now, the majority of that comes from the State Department. But $234 million comes from USAID. Now, here's the crazy thing. There's a good chunk of USAID going to Egypt. That makes sense on paper. I haven't read every single one of these things, water assistance and, court automation. There's certain things, there's some good things in here. But then there's a whole thing about post-secondary education. And then there's a whole bunch of other things for basic Egyptian education. And I'm asking myself, if you put good money and bad money, Stuart, and you're right, but put these two together, it's bad money. And you can't just say, just because there's some good in there, all of it is good. You need to audit and you need to clean up the crap. Because if you're going to send $8.3 million per year for this Egyptian pioneer activity, post-secondary education, and you're going to tell me that that's good, I beg to differ. We need to reassess. Stuart,
I don't want to just jump on you because I talked the whole rant. David, the government told USAID to pause all checks. Pause. And they refused. They were performing an insurrection by that statement and that act alone. And the denial and termination of all is as a result of their stupidity of not abiding by what the government that's elected and put into power requested. That's a fact that isn't even circulating yet.
No, listen, it's not going to circulate. And you know what? I go back to what is it that we're constantly doing. And I get the USAID especially. There's money being allocated for what they call conflict, peace, and security. And I'm all in favor of a lot of this. Emergency response, absolutely. I just see right now here $426 million goes annually to Iraq, for example, of which that money, 95 million is coming from USAID. And I get it. There is a good part of it, but there's also a dirty part of it. And it's the dirty part that pisses me off, and that's the furthering of the Democratic Party's policies, the DEI policies that they've rammed through and really ruined. And this is it. And when you hear again and again and again the AOCs screaming and yelling about the improprieties and the Maxine Waters and the threats, you know you're on the right side. You know that there is a skeleton in their closet that they're petrified is going to be exposed. And these DEI programs, I have no freaking clue. Yeah, great. I have no freaking clue why the Democrats are, the media is going to give the Democrats a pass every time. But
David, I just threw up on the screen, and we got to wrap this. But David, and I know I took the whole rant by a monologue. USAID, this is about an hour old, just in the press, was involved in a 2009 attempted coup in Moldova.
Yeah,
now, you can't make this up, because I just discovered this whole new news thing that I can pull up on USAID, and it's I'm looking, and it's just mind-boggling.
But Stuart, we're gonna see when they do the audit how much dirt they're gonna uncover, and it petrifies the left. And the whole point I'm trying to get at is that when you hear those eccentrics, the right has their eccentrics and the left has their eccentrics, and when you hear we're gonna call for articles of impeachment because how dare Donald Trump audit USAID.
The president
has the right to do this, and they're calling it undemocratic. It's undemocratic to check your trillions of dollars of tax money to find out where it's being allocated. This is the point I'm trying to understand. And to go to Stuart's point with this, I'm going to wrap up. What is going on in Gaza? And you hear the left meltdown again. Back to the same mantras. Ethnic cleansing. How dare you do it? Blah, blah, blah. The double standard. Once again, the Democrats have learned nothing. And the scary part is that left governments like Sweden, Canada, and other places are welcoming in people that the Arab world doesn't want. Let me say that again. The West is letting in people that the Arab world doesn't want, but the Arab world is insisting that no one is to touch Palestine. Palestine has to be built, but you can't do anything. But welcome them into your country. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself why, and it's called radical Islam. And the left won't let you say that. The left will not let you go there. And that is why they're calling for these insurrections, violence, because that is the left's way. And they've tied their horse to these radical Islam, to radical Muslims. They've tied themselves to these crazy DEI programs and they've convinced people that DEI, the elimination of DEI, is racism. They've convinced people that, and I heard it on a CNN interview, Stuart, where an African-American woman said, if it wasn't for DEI, I wouldn't be hired. But I was the lowest paid person, and whose government? Biden and Obama. So what did DEI really do? Okay, and God forbid you're to actually take the time to audit these programs. Do what I want, shut up, and I get to run the place like I want to. If that's not a threat to democracy, I don't know what is. And thank you to the Democrats. Stuart, any last word? Yeah, there we go. Crickets. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for another week-long rant. You've listened. If you have been seeing what we've been doing, we're flying all over the place on social. There are clips flying all over the place, and people are loving it, clicking on it. Our views, our listens have gone up again, thanks to allowing the word to be spread without censorship. So thanks again for tuning in, folks. Please share this with your friends, comment, like, do whatever you want. We just love your engagement. And look, we'll be back here next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon at Eastern is when we broadcast. Have yourself a wonderful weekend and keep on ranting.